What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome to 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I am talking to Zach Gowen. We're going to talk about the time that Brock Lesnar threw him down a flight of stairs. Hello, that must have hurt. Who and what could be the true identity of Mr. America? And Vince McMahon saying some very offensive things to Zach Gowen in 2003. Was he offended? Well, let's find out right now. January 2003, we see you show up in NWA TNA. You're fighting your wrestling trainer, Truth Martini, also taking on WWE former superstars at the time, Road Dogg Jesse James. But that's January. In May of that same year, you were signed to the WWE. Now, how does this even happen? How does the WWE get in contact with you, and how did it feel to sign with a company that inspired you so much as a child?
I really don't know how anything happens, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I call myself the one-legged Forrest Gump because I'm not that bright, but I find myself in these insane situations, in these circumstances, and I look back with so much gratitude at the breaks that I caught, especially early on in the wrestling business. What happened was I had a dark match with Truth Martini, the man who trained me. And the man responsible for all of this, good or bad. And it was a dark match. It was a tryout match, but the buzz created from this match, I mean, I went viral before there was a viral, basically. And word spread throughout the industry that there was a one-legged guy, and he wasn't half bad and he could put on a match. And so word traveled fast, and basically WWE decided to sign me sight unseen. They had no idea what I looked like. They had no idea what I was capable of, or what I could do, or what I couldn't do. They just knew that there was a lot of buzz created from this one match that I had in TNA, this tryout match. And that was the first domino that fell that led me to being signed by WWE.
Your first big storyline in the WWE involved Mr. America. Now, there's a lot of rumors still running rampant on the internet because, you know, the internet loves their rumors. And Mr. America, people still think it's Hulk Hogan. People think Hulk Hogan's Mr. America. Now, you were very close with Mr. America. And listen, just between me and you, nobody else is watching, okay? Is Mr. America Hulk Hogan?
Listen, man, I can't violate the non-disclosure agreement that I signed in blood when I was 20 years old with WWE. So I can't. If you'd like further comment, I would suggest contacting my attorneys in terms of if Mr. America was indeed Hulk Hogan or not.
Now, if anyone knows lawyers in the WWE, Clarence Mason. I don't know if Clarence Mason is your lawyer, or David Otunga. There's been a few lawyer characters, so maybe I can contact them and we'll see if I can get down to this nitty gritty. I thought I'd get the exclusive on finding out if Hulk Hogan was Mr. America. I'm sorry, this interview is over. I'm sorry, folks. But let's continue on, though, because all of your major WWE storylines did involve your prosthetic leg, it seemed like. Now, do you believe you were hired for that reason, or because you are generating an inspiring story to a lot of fans out in the world, showing that, hey, listen, even in the face of adversity, you can still rise up and become something more than you thought you could be? Now, was it both of those reasons, or do you think it could be one or the other?
No, it was 100% both of those reasons. I wouldn't have been signed if I wasn't an amputee. There's no question, because I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh 160 pounds. So how many 6 feet, 160-pound wrestlers do you see in WWE? I mean, you see a few more now, but it was because of the inherent marketability of the gimmick. The fact that it's never been done before, the fact that this story has never been told before, and that's what we do in the wrestling business. We tell stories. So this variation of an underdog overcoming, using the power and love and magic of professional wrestling from a young age to help him overcome obstacles, to now, to see him living his dream. That story is, from an amputee's perspective, has never been told before. It just so happened the fact that I'm really good at what I do.
Right. Well, yes.
So that it was a good mix. And I'll tell you what, man, back in something like that wouldn't happen nowadays, especially if it's never been done before. Back in 2003, WWE, man, that was the wild, wild west. Like, you have to understand the context of this. Uh, um, uh, WCW was just bought out. ECW had folded. And so when before, a year or two before, you have 150 to 200 men and women under contract making a good living at professional wrestling. Now those spots were reduced to what, 50, 60, something like that, only in WWE. And so it was a time of transition, and it was a time of trying to figure out what works and what doesn't in the professional wrestling business, because obviously we were stepping away from the Attitude Era and what we were used to as we were growing up. You and I are probably around the same age.
Probably.
And so 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 for me, I got signed 20 matches in. So I didn't really understand the psychology aspect, or I didn't really understand what I had. And WWE didn't either, because there was no template for a one-legged professional wrestler. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we were literally week to week figuring out what works, what doesn't, just throwing it at the wall to see if it stuck. And I think we made some really memorable moments that I still get asked about to this day, and it's been 19 years, and which is pretty insane to think about. And so I'm extremely grateful that they took an opportunity, that they rolled the dice. I don't think in today's super produced, super corporate environment that would happen. And so I think I came along at the right time for sure.
But for instance, like this storyline, the Mr. McMahon character is ruthless. And on TV, he said and did many things to you that I don't think you'd ever see in today's standards and practices in the world today. Now, were you ever offended by any of these, or you knew this is a storyline and this is just for TV?
Yeah, no, it was, I was never, I don't get offended at anything really. I don't think you can be an amputee and really have too thin of a skin. No, I was never offended or thought to myself, oh, maybe we crossed a line there. I had full trust in WWE, and everything we did on television was to generate hate for whoever the opposition for me was, which in turn benefited me. And so that's just kind of how the wrestling business works. But you're absolutely right. You wouldn't see some of the stuff that we did anymore. I think about John Cena's rap on me. I think about some of the promos that Vince McMahon cut on me. And I think about the match that I had with Brock Lesnar. That was one of the most violent, bloody matches in WWE history.
Now, not many people can say they have defeated Brock Lesnar.
I whooped his ass.
But you, my friend, you were on the list with Roman Reigns and Eddie Guerrero and Seth freaking Rollins. You're on that list, but also you're on the list of the man who was put in a wheelchair and then thrown down a flight of stairs by Brock Lesnar. And I don't really know how someone in wrestling school is like, all right, kids, today we're going to do some back bumps. Now we're going to get in a wheelchair. We're going to get you pushed down the stairs. Like, how the hell do you even prepare for something like that?
I don't, because I didn't take it. They brought in a stunt double to take that fall for me.
Oh, you won't tell about Mr. America, but you're spoiling wheelchair stories.
Man, Clarence Mason's on the blower right now, man.
He's gonna be calling you.
Oh man, no, they brought in the stunt double to take that particular fall down the stairs, tied to a wheelchair. And this guy looked just like me, except he had 2 feet. Which was pretty cool to see. But right before we cut, Vince asked me if I wanted to take the bump. And I looked at him and I said, are you crazy? Like, yeah, I know how to get power bombed, right? I know how to jump off the top rope, but I don't know how to fall down a flight of stairs with a wheelchair bouncing right behind my head. Like I don't. And so I politely declined. But Vince would have let me taken that bump if I obliged. And thankfully I didn't. And I think my mom is thankful I didn't either.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when I've seen like Mick Foley fall down a flight of stairs, and you're like, do you know? Did you sit at home and practice this? Like, all right, kids, don't bother me, daddy, today. I gotta go fall down some stairs and land head first. That's incredible. I did not know that it was a stunt double. I just blew my mind here, blew my mind. But there's something lacking from your WWE run. You never had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. Now, is that something that you wish happened and you got to check off your bucket list?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, that's the pinnacle. That's the premier event in our industry. It would have been amazing to have a match at WrestleMania. They brought me in right after WrestleMania, and they fired me right before the next WrestleMania. So I
Mm.
like my window didn't line up with WrestleMania. But yeah, that's definitely something that I wish I would have participated in. I want to make it clear that I have zero regrets in professional wrestling, like zero. Like wrestling has given me more um than I could have ever asked for or dreamed of or even fantasized about when I stepped foot, pardon the pun, in a wrestling ring for the first time at wrestling school. And I'm so grateful for all of the opportunities and the travel and the heroes that I've met and been able to rub shoulder to shoulder with outside the ring and inside the ring. Wrestling has given me more than I deserve. So there is absolutely no regrets. But yeah, I certainly do wish that I had a WrestleMania moment for sure. I also wish that they made an official action figure of me. That never happened either.
That was my next question actually, because I was doing some research and I couldn't find one, and I'm like, there's got to be one, but they
Yeah,
didn't make one.
no, I wish I think I thought it would have been a cool seller because you'd have to have like a removable leg, so we would have to make a component for that or
Yeah,
something, but it would
snap
certainly
in.
be different than all the other action figures out there.
Right. And I think if that existed, that would have been such an inspiring story. I'm not comparing you to Barbie, but at the same time, original Barbie, she's just blonde, beautiful woman. And then as time has gone on, they have added,
Right.
other things to her, different aspects to people's lives. You start for amputees, or she suddenly just a different presentation. I think that would have sold really well for a different audience, but I guess it didn't happen. What else you have going on?
Golly, everything, man. I've never been busier. I wish I wasn't as busy sometimes. Uh I'm my career now, my main source of income is youth engagement work. I'm one of the most sought after youth student motivational speakers and facilitators in America. And that was, I entered that industry the same way I entered wrestling, which was, hey, I'm not going to be defined by a gimmick. I'm going to pay my dues and I'm going to develop this skill and this ability. And thankfully, my company, CoolSpeak, at CoolSpeak or CoolSpeak.com, the nation's number one leading youth engagement company. They've taken me under their wing, and I've had a relationship with them for 7 years. They are the WWE of youth engagement. I personally have worked with over 100,000 parents, students, and teachers across America, sharing a message of empowerment and inspiration. And, at the end of the day, life isn't about what happens to us. Life is about how we respond to what happens to us, and how we respond to adversity and to challenges. And that's the message I get to carry to the nation's youth, which to me, I'm making a much bigger impact sharing my story that way